Hey guys, I'm Maddie and welcome back to my channel. Recently I have finished A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle Jensen, and she is actually a Canadian author, which is super cool. I didn't realize that until I picked up this copy of the book from my library, and it has a freaking stained edge. Oh. Can I frickin' talk? And it has these stained edges. This is a gorgeous book. Anyways, let's get right into it. In this book, we follow our main character named Freya, and she starts off married to this dickhead of a guy named Vragi. And I want to start. I apologize for all my pronunciations. This is based off of like Norse tales, something like that. Yeah, so the words and the names of people, places, things like that. Not my first language, not in my dialect, so I apologize for any mispronunciations. But anyways, she's married to this guy named Vragi, and he is the son of a god of like the sea or fish. So essentially she's in this arranged marriage to this dude, and he provides all of the fish to her village, and she needs to keep him happy. But like I said, he's kind of a dickhead, so he like dry lands all of these fish. That's how he like brings them up, and then she is in charge of like gutting them and filleting them and bringing them into the village. But one day he beached this whale, like this big huge whale, brought it up onto the land, onto the shore, and just left it there. And then eventually it would make its way back into the sea, and he'd bring it back out again. And he kept doing it over and over just because he could. Like, tormenting this whale brought him joy, and he was on like this power trip until eventually someone like put an axe in the whale's brain to kill it, so that he would stop tormenting the poor thing. But he finds pleasure in pain. So one day Freya's just going about her business, gutting fish, doing as she does, and this gloriously hunky man comes strolling out of the water. He has like long black hair, he is so tanned, he's got these huge ass muscles, he is just chef's kiss. Like, she finds him so gorgeous. And then he flirts with her a little bit and then kind of takes off, and she's left there like shocked and like, oh my god, what did I just do? Like, I'm a married woman, I can't be flirting with guys. Anyways, fast forward a little bit, she meets back up with Vragi, and Jarl Snorri is there too. I think he's like a mayor or like head of a clan or something. But anyways, he is there, and so is that hunky man from the ocean, who we find out is named Bjorn and is the son of Jarl Snorri. And the Jarl sets them up to fight, Bjorn and Freya. They have to like fight into the death because I don't really know why. Vragi sets them up, like he's there too, and like something or other. If she fights Bjorn and wins, then she gets out of the marriage with Vragi. But if she doesn't, I forget what happens. It's not that important. But what we also find out is that Bjorn is the son of Tyr, and he is like the god of fire or something like that. So Bjorn can wield an axe made of flames, and Freya's like, well shit, I'm screwed. So they're fighting, they're doing their thing, and then all of a sudden Freya shouts out for the god. I'm gonna call her Helen. I don't think that's how it's actually pronounced. It's H-L-I-N, but she is the goddess of protection. So Freya shouts out for her, and then all of a sudden her shield is like protecting her, and that is what Jarl Snorri wanted confirmation of. Like, he suspected that Freya was the daughter of this goddess, and Freya is the shield maiden and is very useful to fulfill a prophecy that Jarl Snorri was told. But anyways, after Freya and Bjorn do their little battle dance, no one dies, everyone moves on, except Vragi threatens to take away the woman who Freya's brother is in love with, and that just like enrages Freya. So she grabs this fire axe with her bare hands, hucks it at Vragi, and ends up killing him, but then does a lot of damage to her hand because she literally grabbed an axe made of fire. So, but now she is married to Jarl Snorri, and he's like this old man. So she's in another arranged marriage with a guy, but she has the hots for his son. And like they flirt, they like banter back and forth, and they get along really well. And the Jarl assigns Bjorn the task to look out for Freya, to basically keep her alive, and like her safety is in his hands. So they spend a lot of time together, they get to know each other. The prophecy that Jarl Snorri is trying to fulfill is one that he was told from this seer, and the seer is actually Bjorn's mother, but she has died. She passed away. She like burned to death or something. But she told the Jarl that he will be the king of all of Skaland, and he will be the big old king. Like everyone will be under his order. So he's very, very power hungry and will go to extreme lengths to fulfill this prophecy. And in order for him to become king, it will be the shield maiden, Freya, who will unite all of the people underneath of him. So in order for him to be king, he needs Freya to unite all of the people of Skaland. But all of the other kings and jarls of this land are out to kill Freya because they obviously don't want to lose their position and title to Jarl Snorri. They want to keep things how they are. Like a lot of people don't like him. So in order to stop this prophecy from coming to life, they are trying to kill Freya. So Jarl Snorri puts her through a lot of like tasks and quests and tests to try and unite everybody, and that means a lot of fighting, a lot of wars, a lot of deaths, and Freya is like having this internal turmoil about what she's doing and if it's actually for the greater good or if it's doing more harm than it is benefiting people, and at what cost will he become king. But behind Bjorn's dad's back and behind Freya's husband's back, these two are having a little secret affair, little rendezvous. They're like touchy-feely, getting it on. Like they just are like in love basically, and they know what they're doing is wrong and they're trying to hide it, but they can't deny how they feel. As a child, Freya was always denied her powers and denied the ability to understand how having this drop of God's blood in her affects her and how she can use her gifts and powers. So while she's trying to fulfill this prophecy, she's also trying to understand herself and what it means to be a child of the gods and how far her gifts can expand. I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 4 stars. There was a little bit towards like the second third of this book. It was like a little slow, felt like we could pick up the pace a bit. We were getting kind of lost in the weeds in my opinion, but I really enjoyed it. It was super easy to understand the world building. It was set up in a really great way where I wasn't too confused, I wasn't lost, it wasn't super political. The spice was just right. Freya is like 20 years old and is very horny. Like all she thinks about is basically jumping the bones of Bjorn and getting in his pants. So that, like some points I'm like, okay, can we kind of like steer away from that a bit? Can we focus on something different for a page or two? It wasn't that overwhelming, but it was a common theme throughout the book, but it's a pretty slow burn. The Jarl got on my nerves, but I think that's what he was supposed to do. Was something different. I like learning about gods and that kind of mythology. I think it's really interesting when there's like a god designated for each thing, entity, whatever you want to call it. I think it's really fascinating, and there's a lot of things you can do with that plot line. I heard this is only going to be a duology and that the second book comes out in spring of 2025. So I do have to wait a while to figure out how this story ends, because this book ends on a pretty big cliffhanger and sets up really nicely for the next book. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!